So, I'm just going to blabble here for a minute. I live in Minnesota, okay? So get this. So we're going to build roads, right? That have to be repaired every 5 to 10 years. Well, actually, they have to be repaired almost every day at this point. But we have roads that basically have to get ripped up every, I don't know, fucking 10 to 20 years. I mean, it's a short amount of time. Like, don't get me wrong, okay? So we have to sit here and spend millions of dollars, right? Millions of people have to spend millions of dollars on their cars because we have to make crappy roads with giant potholes. I mean, huge potholes. How in the world do we even let these things get this big? For one, but these things can swallow cars. Like, come on. Like Burnsville let one of their little side roads, little alleyways. This thing turned into a giant sinkhole. You could swallow the front of a car, okay? And you're telling me that we can't use the ability that we have, right, to build NASCAR style roads? We can't do that. We can't. Because if you look at a NASCAR track, okay? Look at a NASCAR track. How often does that track get repaired? To me, 100 years, 200 years, something like that. I mean, look at Europe. What's stopping us from building roads like Europe? Europe can make 200th century roads. They can make roads that fucking, sorry for the language, but they can build roads. They can build roads that can last forever. And yet, we have to sit here and deal with crappy roads, spend a crap ton of money on our cars because of these crappy roads. For what? We pay for these roads too. I'm sure there's a lot of people that live here in the stateside that would love for an engineer from Europe to build us roads, actual roads, not crowned roads, not roads with crowns in them. I don't understand why we have to have roads that have crowns in them. We can make them slope one way. Why do they have to have a crown? Why do we all have to lean to the passenger side? I don't get that. We can lean all one way. Water drainage, they say. Water drainage. Helps with water drainage. Yeah. And we've been building crowned roads since 1800. And you're telling me that we haven't figured out a way to actually build proper roads? We haven't figured out a way to build roads that don't settle. We haven't figured out a way to build roads that aren't lumpy. We haven't figured out a way to make our GPS navigational systems on these dozers build smooth roads. You're telling me that we don't have enough dirt to fill in some of these valleys? You're telling me that we don't have enough whatever to not have to spend just as much money on building the road as we do maintaining it? Because if we don't have to fill in potholes no more, there's a third of the budget. If all we have to do is crack sealing, wow, that's 2/3 of the budget gone. We don't have to do sidewalk work. We don't have to we don't have to do drainage work. Are you saying all we have to do is fix manhole covers and do crack sealing? Wouldn't that be an investment? That'd be one heck of an investment, that's for sure. And those roads don't get lumpy and bouncy. You're saying that those roads are safe to do 100 miles an hour on? Because let me tell you what, our emergency responders, our police officers, some of these roads they can't get to their destination on time. At that point, they're just first responders. At that point, they're in their car going, oh boy, what's the aftermath going to look like? I don't know. Come on, seriously? We can't build roads safe enough for our emergency vehicles to be able to get to their destinations faster, safely, more effectively. Like, okay, no, let's look at this. What's going on with 212? Why is 212 split up in 3 different sections of different kinds of roads? What is up with that? Single lane, then 2-lane concrete highway. Great for seeing in the distance. Oh my God, great for seeing in the distance. I love concrete. Blacktop, once it's wet, you can't see nothing at all. You can't see anything. You're good luck driving down that road at a fast speed when you can't see anything but the sides of the road. I mean, that's great and all, but you know, if that's by yourself, woohoo, great. I can see the road. I don't even know what lane I'm in. But when you got traffic on the road, you got to know what your lane is. And if you can't tell what your lane is, how are you supposed to drive down that road? I mean, I understand in the winter you can't see anything. But in the rain, I mean, for all things of rain, you can't see on blacktop on the rain. And you want us to drive on blacktop? That's dangerous. Dangerous. I don't get this, man. I don't get it at all. I don't get it. It's like you're asking us to risk our lives driving down your roads, and you don't expect us to come around and sue you for not being able to see the road or our lanes? Or are we just not are we just not smart enough to realize this and to find these problems and to call them out? Like, come on. Man, this is ridiculous. And it's 3 different sections. It's single lane, then it's a 2-lane, you know, with the median in the middle. That's great, you know, because if emergency vehicles got to get down the road, only one side of traffic has to stop or slow down. Well, state law is, I don't think most people understand this. State law is move over or slow down. Okay? So understand this, okay? Now get this point, okay? If you want a freeway, okay, you got a median in the middle. That median means that the other side don't slow down at all, okay? So don't slow down. Now, the traffic that you're infected on, right, is on the other side. Now people, listen, zipper merge, okay? Zipper, take turns, okay? But that doesn't mean come to a stop, turn your blinker on, and sit there and wait for that person behind you to stop. No, that's not how that works. Ma'am, you need to get into that lane of traffic as fast and as quickly as possible. Not 1, and a 2, and a 3, and 4, and take 10 seconds to pull out in the traffic. Now you have caused the other lane of traffic to stop. Do you know how quickly traffic can build up behind you if you make a stop? 1 second is 15 automobiles. 2 seconds is 30 automobiles. So you're gonna sit there and hold up traffic for 5 seconds, causing 45 automobiles. If that lane is full, 45 automobiles to come to a stop. That is wrong. Wrong, I say. You should not be allowed to stop traffic like that. Number 1 rule about the freeway: traffic must always keep going. Highly illegal. Now, I don't understand how protesters think that this is legal, because not only is the state not able to really do anything about it, but that is a federal crime if you think about it. Okay? Federal crime. Freeways are federally mandated, not states mandated. So we gonna go out into the freeway and expect a federally mandated road, a road that does not need to be shut down unless federally mandated to. Okay? You want to go out there and stop traffic and then make a big deal because you got hit. I'm sorry, but if you're walking out into the freeway, I'm going to teach you a lesson. I'm going to get really close, maybe even smack you with my mirror and run your toes over, just so you know that walking out in freaking highway is illegal and you will get killed for it. I'm not saying that maybe you'll get killed. I'm saying you will get killed. Not by me, but by automobiles. You go in front of a trucker, fully loaded, that's 3 to 4 football fields. They're plowing through you and the next 600 people behind you if you all stood in a straight line. That's 600 people that we don't have to deal with no more. And yet y'all want to sit there and go, wah, wah, I got hit by an automobile because I wanted to stop traffic. Wah. Sound like a bunch of freaking babies. Grow up. Go learn that your world is corrupt. Go learn to live your own life. Set your own rules. But number 1, 100% respect. Bam! And yet, back to the point of that topic, we can't build roads. We can't build roads. We can't invent technology to build roads. We can't build roads that don't buckle with loaded semis. You're telling me we can't build foundations that cranes sit on? You're telling me that's not possible? Is that what you're telling me? That we don't know how to put up cranes? Because think about it. Just think about it. Our roads use class 5 gravel, okay? And dirt. And whoever knows what else they use. They probably use that magical stuff for building overpasses. Yeah, because they're always smooth. Great job. Finally, we can build overpasses that last centuries, but we can't build roads. We just can't build roads. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. You're telling me that in 225 years, we haven't found somebody to build a damn road? We want damn roads, damn it. Not wimpy gravel wannabes. Okay? We spend the same amount of money to maintain these roads and build these roads. Okay? We build it with the same price and we maintain it with the same price. Ridiculous. At that same maintaining price, we could just have gravel roads for free. We could maintain those gravel roads. Give more people jobs. But no, we want smooth roads, but we want them cheap as possible. Ridiculous. And yet, we'll go and spend triple the amount of money of what we would spend on roads on lame things. Like, you all gang together and spend the ridiculous amount of money on the lamest things. And yet regrettably, not spend any more money on roads. Ridiculous. It's dumb. Like, we cannot build better roads. Hey, come on. Can we not get a Europe engineer to come in and just be like, yo, I'll build you some roads. They'll last forever. Your speed limits will be increased. You'll be able to get from town to town. Get this, okay? How many of you want to go down the road and be able to spend 20 minutes in town, go to your next town 5-10 minutes away, shop, come back, and do all your errands in like an hour and a half, 2 hours? Okay? So explain to me why it takes 3 hours. Oh, no. Yeah. It can take up to an hour. Okay? 1 hour. To go from one side of Lake Street to the other side of Lake Street. 1 hour. 1 hour. To go 1 mile. It can take up to an hour to go anywhere in Minneapolis. It can take an hour. Fully loaded with traffic. You tell me. Seems a little ridiculous to go 1 mile. 1 mile. In 1 hour. Okay? I can use I can use 2 miles of fuel. Okay? I got 15 miles to go 17 miles. And I went 3/4 of the way using only 2 miles of fuel. But I can go 100 miles an hour down the dirt road like it's nothing. Because my car is built to do it. Okay? It's built to go 100 mile an hour or over. It cruises at 100 mile an hour. It goes 100 mile an hour. It could go 200 mile an hour. But I don't have tires to be able to go 200 mile an hour. Now, if I can fly down the dirt road, hit potholes the size of a damn wheel, okay? Look at how big that steering wheel is. You telling me I can hit potholes the size of that steering wheel at 100 mile an hour? and I won't feel them. Okay? They don't affect my car. They don't throw me sideways. They don't jolt me around. Okay? If I had the time, I'd get out. I'll show you my front sway bar. Okay? My front sway bar, get this. This is ridiculous, okay? Ridiculous. Alright? You see this right here? See how big that is? Alright? That's almost the size of my wrist. Okay? Now my wrist, my coffee cup is bigger, okay? It's bigger. And you're telling me that my sway bar needs to be this thick. That thick, okay? On an independent suspension car, alright? It needs to be that thick. It don't need to be that thick at all. Look, I got just a rear sway bar in this. This is an 05 Durango, okay? I took that front sway bar out. I put it in the back. I put that in the back, like just set it down there, okay? I left that rear sway bar hooked up. I can go 100 miles an hour. I could take corners at triple the speed limit. Triple the speed limit. I know how to drive, okay? Other people would be operator error if they drove this car and they messed up. That's operator error, okay? I know how to drive. But I can go triple the speed limit around corners, okay? With just a rear sway bar. And this thing is dinky. Tiny. Regrettably tiny. Tiny. Like, tiny. Like that's my thumb. My thumb, it's bigger than my thumb, okay? That's a sway bar. In the back. It's just enough to allow me to go 100 miles an hour, not mess up, not have the car do weird, goofy things, not have it go sideways, not have it bounce in the air, not have it do all sorts of this goofy stuff that all the other automobiles do because of a front sway bar. So you're telling me I could take the front sway bar out of almost any IFS truck, and they are Baja ready? That's ridiculous. Stop putting thick sway bars in cars, especially if you know that the roads are this crappy. The roads will swallow your tire, okay? You want to leave that suspension loose. You want it to operate independent of each other, right? That's the way you designed that. That's why you designed it that way, right? So why do we need the sway bar to be so stiff that your tires can only do this? Okay? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Look, my truck can do this. And I can bang corners. I can emergency maneuver with some body roll. Yeah, of course, there's body roll. But this thing stays planted to the road. Like, it won't roll over. I tried rolling it over. It don't roll over. Maybe I'm not pushing it hard enough, but it won't roll over. Okay? It can take emergency maneuvers just as fast as I need it to. As quickly as I need it to. And it won't roll over. And yet we need sway bars so thick, that the front end feels like I'm driving in a 1-ton. No. And then your way of fixing that on a Durango was to just lower the tire pressure down to 33 on big honking tires. Okay, yeah, that gives you a smooth ride. Yeah, because you soak all the bumps into the tire, you know, because the tire's round, you know, and then it squishes, squish, you know, when you hit a bump or whatever, or big rocks, squishy, okay? But still, We want to stiffen that up. We don't want it to move. No. Let that thing go like this, okay? Get some good shocks in there for that rebound, because that's all you need to do is you only need to control the rebound. You don't need bump shocks. You don't need shocks that have 90 PSI pushing down on your suspension along with your springs, okay? 90 PSI is a lot. Go get yourself some air shocks, okay? Put them in your car. Take the springs out, okay? Fill them things up to 90 PSI, and you tell me what your car looks like. It's going to be riding in the air. It's going to be off the ground. So you're telling me I need to put the same amount of weight capacity spring, right? Because air is a spring at that point, in my car with a spring of basically the same tension. That's just giving you a stiffer ride. That's preventing the wheel from going. Okay? It's not moving. Okay? That's not moving. You want that wheel to move, right? So you get some rebound shocks, okay? So your suspension does its job and works correctly like it's designed to do. Okay? So if I have a spring back there, right, factory to the durango, and it wants to compress because it felt a big bump, and that bump is overpowering the spring, then let it go up. Let it absorb. It's not going to go all the way up, because guess what? Its rate builds as it compresses. It's not a constant rate spring. It's a variable rate spring back there. Okay? So, as it comes down, it gets stiffer. So it starts to be that bump shock already back there. It doesn't need it. Okay? So I went and got myself some rebound shocks with 60 PSI, okay, of nitrogen fluid gas. Alright? So it's hydraulic fluid with nitrogen gas, 60 PSI. I can take this thing and squeeze it in by hand and unsqueeze it, okay? Now, I put another spring back there, came out of a Tahoe, right? That spring fits perfectly inside the 05 Durango spring. Nice and great. Fits perfect. You put that together, throw it back in there, right? Now I got a nice, 4-5 inch lift back there. But I put a horse trailer on here with a lawnmower, a four-wheeler, its plow, a bunch of other stuff, okay? 6,000-7,000 pounds, right? You know how tongue heavy trailers are. Horse trailers, anyways. Horse trailers get pretty tongue heavy, just empty. And this thing squatted just normal, right to its normal ride height. Meaning it still had this bar before it hit the bump stops. Bump, 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 bump. Okay? I could soak up this. I had this much wheel travel. That's a lot of wheel travel, okay? That's a lot of bump absorption. And yet we have to build lift kits that can't do that. You put a trailer on it. Bump, 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 bump. They don't let you go any further. They don't let you go any lower than what your factory suspension was set to go. Think about that. Think about Baja trucks, okay? Baja trucks run 37s, standard size now that I've last heard is 39.5. Okay? So you're telling me that running a 40-inch tire, I can't squat any lower than what the factory suspension was set to on a 31-inch tire, I still have 4 to 5 inches that I can go before I hit the ground. 6 inches with a 40-inch tire, yeah. I'm going to cut that. Yay! Now I can get down to about 2 inches from the ground. 2 inches from the ground is good because you're going to have about 6 inches of squish in your tire. So you might tap or touch the ground here and there. It's like we don't know how to build cars for our own roads. If you're going to build USA built cars, you're going to build it with all of our roads in mind. If you're not going to spend the money, and you're not going to give your money to the people who need it to build these proper roads, then we need to start building cars that can handle our own dang roads. We need to be building cars that are designed to soak up giant potholes, nasty roads. These cars should be designed to be able to go down the dirt road at 100 miles an hour. If they can go down the road, a dirt road, a very ugly, ripply, potholey dirt road, okay, then it is ready to hit the road and be used for customer service. Because a customer will abuse the living heck out of that automobile, and they will put it to its limits more than you ever could. More than you ever could. And yet we don't know how to build automobiles that aren't built for Europe. Like, seriously. Is your guys' intention to build automobiles and then sell them to Europe and let us deal with the crappy outcome? Because that doesn't work for us. If we're not going to spend the money on proper century-lasting roads, then we need to start building automobiles. Because I can build automobiles that can handle our roads, drive at high speeds, corner at higher speeds, and be able to get to emergency situations faster than any emergency vehicle built today. And yet, we can't build automobiles for emergency responders to be able to get to their destinations and their areas as quickly as possible. It is a little ridiculous that me, as an automobile tuner, as me, as a high-performance guy, can respond to emergency situations faster and more safely than our emergency responders today. Seems a little ridiculous. Very ridiculous. It's like I should be the emergency responder myself. But ain't nobody gonna pay me to do it, and ain't nobody gonna want me to do it because I can't remember a dang thing unless it's long term. And building that takes years. Take up to 3 years for me to finally start remembering what needs to go on and what the process needs to be. Ain't nobody got time for that. But yet, I can build automobiles that can survive these roads. I can build automobiles that can last 23,000 miles. Okay, I bought this thing with 211,000 miles, and I can put 24,000 on it with only taking the front sway bar off, not replacing any ball joint or any tie rod. I can go 24,000 miles. Dirt roads, potholes. And this thing don't break? Think about that. One part ruins every other part because of the stress it can put on them. So if you ever have issues with ball joints and tie rods, try removing your sway bar. And if it works, give me a call. I'll make it go fast.